Hello, my name is George Mulder, and this is my intellectual audio visual mix. And today I'm going to be comparing Martin Luther King Jr. and his movement to the Black Lives Matter movement that is happening today. And the reason why I was inspired to do this is because I actually did extensive research on Martin Luther King Jr. for my author discussion on all his history, the background, the speeches, the protests, the sit-ins, um, just everything he did to fight for the civil rights movement. And I felt like it would be very cool to see what Black Lives Matter movement is doing compared to what he did, because I'm actually not that informed on the Black Lives Matter movement going on right now. And so I thought it would be a good opportunity to become more informed. And so I could, research, find out things while also being able to compare it to how they were back in the day. So, for starters, Martin Luther King Jr. was a generational and life changing social activist who was only on this earth for a short 39 years. However, he accomplished so many great achievements as well as became one of the most influential people in the fight for civil rights. Just some of his great feats: he led the 1955 Montgomery bus boycott, he led the March on Washington, where he delivered the famous I Have a Dream speech. He founded the African American Civil Rights Organization to support nonviolent protests. And he also started the Birmingham Campaign, which, in a long effort to end segregated laws in the county, ended up succeeding. But more than everything, Martin Luther King Jr. just simply taught the world that no matter the odds against you, you should never back down against your beliefs. It's okay to dream, you should always dream big, and you can always chase those dreams. And here's a little excerpt of his I Have a Dream speech.
That one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. I have a dream.
Moving on to the Black Lives Matter movement. In 2013, it was founded by three female black organizers. They created it um, just to kind of form a black centered political will and movement building project. After the death of Trayvon Martin back in 2012, they started a hashtag Black Lives Matter, and it just erupted, especially after the deaths of Michael Brown and Eric Gardner, even more recently, George Floyd. It has grown so much attention worldwide, and they've actually started to get a few physical changes done in our country. Um, a few of them are including, police reform in different districts. They're reallocated $133 million from the LAPD budget to other areas to make more jobs and more safe well-being for the black people in the area. Since the death of George Floyd, the country's 100 largest cities have passed policies by law enforcement, driving the total number up to 62 of the country's 100 largest cities with such policies. New York State legislature repealed a 50A, which was a former law that obscured police disciplinary records from the public. In cities like Detroit, Buffalo, Dallas, and Charlotte, police departments are enacting and strengthening duty to intervene policies, which requires officers to step in when their colleague uses excessive force. Racist relics, such as NASCAR has banned the Confederate flag, Mississippi has changed their state flag. A lot of monuments honoring enslavers, colonizers, and Confederate leaders have been removed or taken down. In the education district, school districts are adopting racial equality policies to desegregate schools, close racial gaps among students, and reform the way they teach and discipline students as well as who they hire. Even in the entertainment and pop culture, sport leagues are reversing course on prior action, and statements are now supporting their athletes and protesting for inequality. Black athletes like Colin Kaepernick are finally getting the recognition they deserve for kneeling during the anthem. The Washington football team has changed their previously racist name and mascot. Even such things as Disney, they've transformed their Splash Mountain ride, which was based on a racist Disney song, into now a Princess and the Frog themed attraction. So just things like that are moving in more of a progressive
So
manner.
finally, comparing the two, I think it's very important to clarify the difference between living in our era versus back when Martin Luther King Jr. lived. Obviously, he led marches, protests, sit-ins, speeches, all the things I talked about in his little excerpt that I did on him. But I think now we're in a much different time with social media and all these other outlets that we have, the news, TV, things like that, to really portray our message. And I think it's really cool actually what we can do to show our support. When we saw things like George Floyd die and Breonna Taylor, you would see just thousands of Instagram posts, blackout posts, saying hashtag Black Lives Matter. Just little things like that that can show support, show strength in numbers, without actually having to, fly out for a protest or, travel great distance just to make a march. So I think we live in a very cool era because we can show support and strength without actually being there physically because of the cloud and the online presence that all Americans bring. So I think the differences or the similarities are way stronger than the differences between the two groups. And I think we're in a great spot right now to keep moving forward, to keep changing. You see the little changes that are being made, the changes in names to certain organizations, things being teared down, new things being built. I think we're in a really good spot.